This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am piggybacking off of Daily Empress's video that she put out today because she makes some really good points that barely anybody is talking about. Here's what she had to say today.
The Harry's court case has proven beyond the shadow of a doubt there was no substance at all to any of the claims that Harry, Elton John, and the others, Liz Hurley, all liars who went to court and tried to claim they were, attacked by journalists and with phone hacking, which all a lie. And Harry has to pay all this money. Now, what Camilla Tominey pointed out and many others, all the other journalists, is that this was an attack on journalists. This was an attack on freedom of speech. Harry was trying to take out the Daily Mail. He was trying to put them out of business and, of course, make money. However, this, you can't just say it's just about making money. Because, first of all, Harry doesn't need money. He's with the royal family. They don't need any money. It's not about money for them. They don't do anything for that. They want you to think that. And if this were just an isolated incident, yeah, you could but it's not. Harry is part of a axis of evil, of censorship that went on all throughout, particularly 2020 through present day during the COVID psyop and the safe and effectives. So let's just a quick review of the past few years of who Harry was working with. So we know Harry arrived here in the U.S. in 2020 and quickly joined the Aspen Institute to battle misinformation, which, of course, was the new term being flung around. And what the hell would Harry know about what's true or what's not in medicine or any other topic is beyond me. But here you've got Prince Harry of the British royal family coming in and saying, yeah, I'm going to stamp out misinformation in America. That's my job now because I feel like it, right? Made absolutely no sense. The whole thing was Orwellian and a lie. And, of course, he worked with a bunch of other characters like Katie Couric. Who is Katie Couric? A talking head, as well as others, communist Marxists here, including Chris Krebs and Rashid Robinson, etc. So Harry became a commissioner of disinformation in 2020. This is well publicized. And without a doubt, they did block the Hunter Biden laptop and other things. I think they were mainly here to censor anyone who had an adverse reaction to the vaccines. And I say that because another high British Sir, Nick Clegg, one of the Queen's favorites, suddenly got a job at Facebook. So what is Queen Elizabeth's advisor here? What the hell is he doing at Facebook?
I want to add here that James Holt used to work for Nick Clegg and then went over to the palace in October of 2017. And isn't that something that a month later, Harry and Meghan get engaged? Nick Clegg went to go work for Facebook in October of 2018 as the global VP for content moderation. And isn't it a coincidence that right after Nick Clegg joined Meta in October, the following month, we started to see these stories being leaked out of Meghan being nicknamed Duchess Difficult? Or how about the headline of Meghan making Kate cry? At that point, people criticizing Meghan and Harry started to get their accounts either banned or their content flagged and pulled down. But that's really when the censorship actually started. And they started to see that more so on Facebook, and now we understand why. So when these ridiculous headlines were coming out in November of 2018, there was one headline that everybody missed because we were distracted by these headlines of Meghan making Kate cry and Meghan is Duchess Difficult. On the same day that these articles were being released, Marie Claire releases this headline, "Why You'll Never Hear the Queen Refer to Meghan Markle as Pregnant." Looking back on this, maybe it's because Meghan was never pregnant. And this article here appears to be as if somebody is covering tracks. So according to Marie Claire, a so-called source claims that Queen Elizabeth would rather we all refer to pregnant women as in the family way, which is a 17th century term that was used back in the day. In this article, it's stating that the Queen's rumored pet peeves have revealed that Her Majesty simply hates anyone using the P word and finds it to be entirely vulgar, according to a so-called palace source. I don't necessarily know if I buy that, and here is the reason why. When Catherine was pregnant with her children, the palace had no problem using the word pregnancy or referring to the pregnancies. In fact, there's no problem on the website for them to be using the word pregnancy. What's interesting and very telling about Meghan Markle's announcement, as it says here, the Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are very pleased to announce that the Duchess of Sussex is expecting a baby in the spring of 2019. Their Royal Highnesses have appreciated all of the support they received from people around the world since their wedding in May and are delighted to be able to share this happy news with the public. Okay, that went up on the royal website. Now, here's the thing. Normally, when these announcements were made of pregnancies, it was the press secretary for the monarch. At the time, it would be Queen Elizabeth. And in these statements, there is this line where it says the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh and members of both families are delighted with the news. There's always this mention of the Queen and Prince Philip, as well as the rest of the family, being delighted with this news. But for some reason, when the announcement came for Meghan and posted on the royal website, there was no mention of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh or Prince Charles at the time and Camilla being delighted of this news. Even William and Catherine's name are not there. But this is official Buckingham Palace messaging, so why didn't the Queen put her royal stamp on it? And I think we all know why. And I think it's pretty safe to say that the reason why the Queen would never refer to Meghan as pregnant is because she never was. Nowhere does the royal family recognize that Meghan was with child. And I think the reason why they did this is to give them plausible deniability. This article was dropped the same day that all of the noise with Meghan made Kate cry and Meghan being Duchess difficult. Did anybody bother to see this article? Probably not. One way or another, somebody put that in there because times like this, now that things are starting to unravel and people are trying to put two and two together, we have an alibi here. Oh no, the Queen never acknowledged that Meghan Markle was pregnant. It's these little details that gives the royal family the plausible deniability. When you look at Catherine's announcement, it says the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales, and the Duchess of Cornwall, Prince Harry, and members of both families have been informed and are delighted with the news. With Meghan and Harry's announcement, the royal family can say, we never put our names to it and have no idea what happened here. I think the logical question I have here is who wrote this and was able to get this up on the official royal family website? If the tradition is for the press secretary of the monarch to make this announcement, the question is why did they leave out any reference to royal family members or the Queen at the time? The way that I look at this, Meghan Markle was not pregnant. And I think that the royal family have all along not really have been honest, but they knew. And I think in small ways, we would see, the differences in how real members were pregnant versus Meghan. The big question is, why did they go along with it? Especially the Queen. I don't necessarily think it's blackmail. I think it has a lot to do with what Harry and Meghan were coming over to the United States to do. And if this indeed turns out to be confirmed that this was indeed a black operations, then I think we have our answers. And the funny thing is, people rolling their eyes thinking that everything that I talk about is conspiracy. But if there weren't so many murky details, we wouldn't be going down these rabbit holes and trying to fill them in, right? I'm not just going to sit there and accept what we're being told, especially when shit doesn't add up. It's not our fault when there is no transparency when it comes to certain things in this whole saga. Anyway, sorry to digress. Let's continue on. Getting back to a member of the Queen's Privy Council, Nick Clegg.
And what did he do? Well, he admitted, as I showed in my earlier music video, The Art of Censorship, he admits in interview, I'm at censorship. We're taking down misinformation, just like Prince Harry. And over 8 million pieces of misinformation, i.e. posts from Americans particularly Americans who were questioning the safety and efficacy and who were suffering dire, deadly consequences, basically a genocide he was covering up for. And he admits to it, like, yeah, I shut them all up. I took so that nobody could be warned about the dangers of the safe and effectives. So again, that's number 2. And of course, number 3, as we all know, is the Iranian British national known as Imran Ahmed, CEO of Center for Countering Digital Hate. For some reason, this man washes ashore. I don't know if he came here on a boat or not, or a raft, but he arrived in Washington, D.C. and published a list of prominent Americans. And it's very important. The Dirty Dozen, I'm sure you remember that with Biden and Jen Psaki announcing that not only were these doctors, this list of Dirty Dozen that Imran Ahmed claimed, like Christopher Bouzy claimed that just these few people were 75% of the misinformation. Well, who were these people? Oh, they're medical doctors. They're medical doctors and specialists, experienced, knowledgeable people in natural health remedies. All of them health related. And they were not only deplatformed on all platforms, they were debanked. Dr. Mercola was debanked. He couldn't get it. He couldn't use his bank account. They shut him out. So Dr. Mercola, osteopathic physician, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a lawyer, but very knowledgeable on safe and effectives and science. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, osteopathic physician. There was an activist there, a physician, Dr. Rashid Buttar, doctor, medical doctor, et cetera, et cetera. They were all, the decades of experience. They knew the dangers of, injections. And these were the people that Imran Ahmed, a British Iranian, arriving here, declares that they're the Dirty Dozen. So what the hell is a British national activist coming to America and saying, yeah, you know what, I think these American doctors are spreading misinformation. Yeah. Oh, and Biden just happened to pick it up. Imran has no idea how. Just somehow President Biden's executive team got a hold of his report and just ran with it, with Jen Psaki on TV saying, we've got these disinformation dozens spreading all this misinformation. So you see what's happening here. You have Imran Ahmed, you have Sir Nick Clegg censoring vaccine injured people, trying to warn others on Facebook. You have Imran Ahmed deplatforming doctors who know what's what and we're trying to warn people. And of course, you have Prince Harry at the Aspen Institute and with Meghan spreading lies about misinformation and of course deplatforming anyone who criticized Harry and Meghan and exposed them online, deplatforming me and many others. And so you see this, they're all attacking. And of course, a lot of the time I got deplatformed because I dared to even use the word vaccine. I mean, I was very careful after being taken down a few times, and I was careful what I said, but even just saying the word, I mean, I don't know if his terrorist organization, Sussex Squad, like just mass reported me, because they just mass report you if you just use the word, and took me down, or if YouTube was that extreme, because of course it wasn't just Facebook, it was YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. They would rip you down. And you have these 3 British nationals arriving in America in 2020 and just censoring the hell out of us, particularly during a vaccine rollout, where so many people have been injured and died. And they censored people who were trying to warn others and people who knew, experts. And not only that, there is on CCDH's website, this is from September 2024, just an addition to this, you see Imran Ahmed, and he's standing at the UN, the United Nations. Of course, Harry is very connected to the United Nations as well.
Let me go ahead and add here, but you see the woman's name, Marla Blow, who's the president of Skoll Foundation. In this picture, she's wearing this plum suit. Well, she was a commissioner with Prince Harry on the Aspen Commission on Information Disorder, seen here. Do you guys all see how these people are connected?
They all are. This is all, as we know, WEF, UN agenda. On the right-hand side is a woman named Melissa Fleming, and I've done videos about her concerning her terroristic group called Team Halo. And I pointed out this terrorist group were attacking mis and disinformation against doctors and nurses on TikTok and other places and mass reporting them to get their licenses suspended and to get them fired if they said anything against the safe and effectives on TikTok. And TikTok gave her verified people, these activists who pretended to be doctors. Some of them were real doctors, some were pretending, and they were pushing, of course, the safe and effectives, and TikTok boosted them to get millions of followers, even though in reality they would never have even gotten a few. So the power of the algorithms. So that was Team Halo, which led, and Team Halo also worked with another online terrorist known as that Dinesh guy, who is still very active. He's on YouTube and TikTok and others. You can look him up. But this is all connected. Look at Imran Ahmed posing for a picture with her. And so you've got all these, and I connected these terrorist groups with the Sussex Squad. So you've got a UN backing with it. So this appears, or it shows, that you've got Prince Harry, Nick Clegg, Imran Ahmed, all with the UN, terrorist groups, all to attack people who said anything negative about injections during the COVID psyop. So basically, altogether, the censorship of quote unquote misinformation, what would any of these bozos have anything to knowledge of any sort? The people who did have the knowledge, they put on a dirty dozen list. So this was nothing short of an attack on Americans and the rest of the world, but particularly by these British nationals, particularly backed by the royal family. Again, you've got a Prince Harry, you've got Nick Clegg, Sir Nick Clegg, who is a special advisor to the Queen, and you have this other British national, Imran Ahmed, who is also working closely with these political, McSweeney and others, working with high up in the political arena.
Like, there's absolutely no way that the Crown did not know what Harry and Meghan were up to here in the United States. I can't buy that so-called story that we've been fed. There's a reason why none of these journalists are covering any of this.
It's a very powerful royal and political backing here, all tied together and committing crimes against humanity together.
I mean, this should really make people's blood boil. But also denying the will of the American people, because I've said from the very beginning, Harry and Meghan didn't come here because they wanted to find their freedom. They came here to subvert the United States of America. And now that might sound a little outrageous, but not really. After all of the evidence that I've laid out over the last 5 years, showing you that this motherfucker was involved. And there's absolutely no way that the palace didn't know. And now on Thursday, it looks like things are about to get real spicy.
Around the world and around the nation are anticipating your big announcement on Thursday night regarding election machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience
I'd rather
in America?
save it. It will concern that subject, and we'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch, though?
But I'd rather save it, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned yesterday in my video, I suspect that this speech is probably going to include something about these voting machines, as well as the dark money that has been flowing into this country for these color revolutions, like Black Lives Matter, something that Harry and Meghan were deeply involved with, supporting, and also funding. As Daily Empress mentioned earlier, we had 3 British nationals who played a significant role in had a role in changing the course of America's history and causing a lot of damage that's going to be seen for years to come. Also, they could satisfy this evil agenda, an agenda that, make no mistake about it, the royal family have been backing and supporting for decades. I still stand by the conclusion that I've come to after all of these years. This Harry and Meghan saga was always about keeping Donald Trump out of office. Do I think the Queen knew that Harry and Meghan were coming over here to play a role in this covert operation to keep Donald Trump out of office? Yeah, I do. And I believe that they were supposed to go back to the UK after Biden got into office, but Meghan had her own plans and turned everything upside down. The thing that I find so gross about all of this is the amount of harm that these globalists have caused to innocent people. And none of them have come forward to even acknowledge or have the self-awareness to say, you know what, we were wrong and we're sorry. None of them. And that's what I find the most evil, because these are people who feel that they have the right to take away what's yours. And I think a lot of us are disappointed in the royal family for what they're turning out to be. It's disappointing to see the monarchy allow the Church of England to go down this path that is so far away from what God wants. The acceptance of having more than two genders and the raping of children alone goes to show that this is not the church it used to be. This is something very evil that didn't just start under the monarchy with Charles. I'll tell you, PR is a powerful thing. It's likely we'll never know the real story about Harry and Meghan. All we can do at this point is continue to keep telling the story so it's not forgotten. Because it's pretty clear that after Donald Trump got back into the White House, Harry and Meghan, if you haven't noticed, have been distancing themselves from all of their activity that really was undermining this great country. We can't let that happen. And that's why I continue to keep talking about it, even if it's not popular. I don't care. I do believe that one day we are going to see justice. I don't care how long it takes. One day we're going to have it. I don't know about you, but I'm getting this feeling that it's coming soon. But what do you guys think? I'm on board with what Daily Empress is saying here because she also went through it. I'm going to go ahead and link Daily Empress's video, The Art of Censorship. I highly recommend you check it out. Anyhow, what do you guys think? Definitely let me know your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Such a fraud.